The fastest raise in tech isn't a new job, it's the one you already quit. Sounds backwards, right? But the company you walked away from might be the exact place that pays you the most to come back.
Wait, seriously? You're telling me the door I slammed on my way out is the one I should knock on for more money?
Exactly. It's a real pattern hiring managers quietly call the boomerang. Employees leave, and 18 months later they come back, often at 15 to 30% more than they were making before.
Okay, but that feels almost insulting. If they valued me that much, why didn't they just pay me before I left?
That's the paradox at the heart of this whole thing. Companies are terrible at valuing people they already have, and shockingly good at valuing people they're afraid to lose.
So let's break down why the old employer will actually pay a premium. Because on paper, hiring you again sounds like a downgrade, not a raise.
Start with the biggest hidden cost in all of hiring, ramp-up time. A brand new engineer takes 3 to 6 months just to understand the codebase, the tools, the politics.
Right, and you already know all of that. You know where the bodies are buried in the legacy system. You know who to slack when the deploy breaks.
So when you walk back in, you're productive on day one. That's months of salary the company doesn't have to burn on a slow start. That savings is real, and it's leverage.
Then there's the risk factor. Every new hire is a gamble. Great interview, terrible teammate, happens all the time.
But with you? Zero mystery. They've seen how you handle deadlines, how you take feedback, whether you actually ship. You're a known quantity, and known quantities are expensive to replace.
Here's the part people miss. While you were gone, your value went up in ways they can measure. You learned a new stack, led a project, saw how a different company solves problems.
So you come back not as the person who left, but as an upgraded version, with outside perspective they couldn't get internally. That's genuinely worth more.
And don't underestimate the emotional pull. Your old manager remembers the good times, not the annoying stand-up meetings. Absence really does polish a reputation.
There's even a name for that, the recency and rosy-view bias. Once you're gone, the friction fades and only the wins remain. The gap you left behind feels bigger every week.
Okay, I'm sold on why they'd want me back. But how do you actually pull this off without looking desperate or like you're crawling home?
Great question, and the timing is everything. The sweet spot is roughly 9 to 18 months after you leave. Long enough that your replacement's honeymoon is over, short enough that they still remember you fondly.
So it's not a panic move. It's patience. You let the story develop before you make your entrance.
And you keep the relationships warm while you wait. Not spammy, just human. Grab coffee with your old lead. Comment on their launch. Send a congrats when they get promoted.
That way, when a role opens up, you're not a cold applicant in a pile of 500. You're the first name someone thinks of. They come to you.
Which flips the entire negotiation. When they reach out first, you're not asking for a favor, you're solving a problem they already have. Leverage lives in who initiated.
So how do you actually name the number? Because a lot of people freeze here and just accept whatever the recruiter opens with.
You anchor to your current market rate plus the value of everything you learned while away, never to your old salary. The moment you reference what you used to make, you've capped yourself.
And you frame the premium around what you save them. Say it plainly, I can skip the ramp up, I already know the systems, and I'm bringing what I learned at my last role. That justifies the number.
Let me give you a real shape example. Someone leaves at 140,000, spends a year leading infrastructure elsewhere, and comes back at 180. That's not greed, that's an accurate repricing.
And here's the quiet bonus. A lot of companies have formal alumni or rehire programs now, specifically because boomerangs retain better and stay longer. They want you back.
Now the fair warning, this doesn't work everywhere. If you left on bad terms, burned a bridge, or the whole team turned over, the magic disappears.
Which is the real lesson buried in all of this: how you leave a job is a financial decision. A clean exit is basically a savings account you cash out later.
So the takeaway is simple but powerful. Your old employer isn't a closed chapter, it's a warm lead that already knows your value. Treat every exit like you might walk back in.
And next time you're grinding through 100 cold applications, remember, your fastest 30% raise might be a single coffee with someone who already knows you deliver.